Global awareness of human rights is on the rise, and so too is the unraveling of atrocities being committed against fellow men. There are some who take human rights for granted. Others are not even aware of their basic rights. Around the world, human rights defenders incur immense sacrifice in furthering the cause of realizing a world where you and I can have equal rights.
The Human Rights Centre was started by myself and two of my colleagues. This was after I had served as UN Special Rapporteur on the situation of human rights defenders for almost a year, and I had traveled to different countries. I saw how human rights defenders in different countries work so hard and get so committed to bring up issues, to speak about issues in their own countries. And I was inspired that this could happen in Uganda, and we could have a group of human rights defenders or a strong civil society which can be able to speak about issues in the country and really ensure that the situation of human rights in the country is improved.
Globally, courageous and visionary people have sought to extend the boundaries of human rights protection to those outside its boundaries, whether it be those living in slavery, workers unprotected against exploitation, or women denied the vote. Despite international laws that protect them, human rights defenders are needed all over the world to monitor and challenge abuses and violations.
A human rights defender is a person who promotes or protects human rights. It's anyone who promotes, protects, and works for the promotion of human rights.
The Human Rights Centre, a non-profit organisation which began its operations in 2008, is dedicated to the promotion and protection of human rights, with particular emphasis on the rights of human rights defenders. The Centre has been engaged in the translation and dissemination of legal documents, including the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, the UN Declaration on Human Rights Defenders, Chapter 4 of the 1995 Constitution of Uganda, and guidelines on submitting allegations of violations into 7 local languages commonly spoken in Uganda.
The main duties of the Human Rights Centre is to promote the rights of human rights defenders. This can be done through capacity building workshops. It can be done by bringing human rights defenders together. It can be done by doing research and launching a report which gives the situation analysis of human rights defenders everywhere in Uganda.
We train human rights defenders all over the country on national, regional and international protection mechanisms, the basics of human rights and security. We also carry out research on the situation of human rights defenders across the country and release an annual report on human rights defenders.
We also do a lot of joint advocacy activities where we partner with different human rights defenders organizations and institutions of government. For example, the Uganda Human Rights Commission and others.
Like Foundation for Human Rights Initiative, Hurinest, NGO Forum, ACFOD, FIDA, UNET. There are lots of organizations outside the country also who work on issues of human rights in various parts of the country. We collaborate with them, we work with them, we build their capacity, we share information, we carry out a lot of other activities.
The Centre recognises that human rights work requires synergy and collaboration, and in its activities will seek to work collaboratively with other actors in the human rights field.
We have a number of funders. We have the Democratic Governance Facility, which has been a very good supporter of our programs. We have other funders like Ford Foundation, Open Society. We have other funders like Austrian Development Corporation and many others who support our programs. Sometimes just as an activity, or sometimes also giving us support for our budget.
Defenders working on human rights issues which have traditionally been neglected or marginalized often face specific obstacles as a result. These include and are by no means limited to detention or abduction, harassment, amongst other things. They may also encounter smear campaigns and bureaucratic barriers, subjected to death threats and torture, persecuted through the use of the judicial system, and silenced by restrictive laws.
The biggest challenge, I must say, is the expectation from the people that you'll be there, you'll be able to stand up for them, to speak out for them.
Many times we find that they come and ask us for things that are way beyond our mandate. As much as we try to fulfill all their needs, sometimes it's impossible.
Perception that a human rights defender is just opposing needs a lot of effort to convince different stakeholders that human rights defenders can actually contribute to the democratization process in the country and not only oppose governments. The Human Rights Centre would like to see that it brings out networking between the different civil society organizations, that it creates synergy, that people are able to share experiences, to speak out with one voice, to campaign and advocate on important issues together. The Human Rights Centre would like to see that the capacity of human rights defender is built to use the national, regional and international mechanisms to be out there and be able to bring out issues not only within Uganda but even at the international scene, and participate and be able to ensure that the resolutions which are passed by the United Nations are brought back and domesticated into our system. And I think the Human Rights Centre, in the long run, doing all this will ensure that human rights defenders are making a contribution to the whole democratization process in the country, that they are making a difference to the country in development, in the political arena, in the governance issues, on issues of human rights.
Our dream is a society in which every individual enjoys his or her universally recognized human rights and fundamental freedoms. Our mission is to contribute to the promotion, protection and fulfillment of human rights, especially the rights of human rights defenders. We are Human Rights Defenders. We are Human Rights Centre Uganda. Visit our website at www.hrcug.org or find us on Facebook or Twitter at HRCUG.